So this is what we have so far. We've created a few classes. A couple of them are named view, and one of them is the data object. Of course, we also need to create a controller, because we said that it's a good idea to have a controller. And so let's see what the assignment handout tells us regarding the controller name. So it's simply controller NYR. Okay, we'll just create that as well. All right, same package, just say new new Java class. This is our controller class, and just say finish, and this creates us this controller class, and we're just going to annotate it as usual, here's an interesting aspect of what I've done so far. Here is that you see how I'm saying here a history view and the main view. If you'd like to keep during development, if you'd like to keep, you know, all the views together, maybe I should reverse naming of these classes. For example, I can just say refactor and change the name for this class. It's still pretty early, so it's not a big challenge to do something like that, rename. And instead of saying history view, I will say view history, right? Which makes sense. Refactor that. Likewise, with the main view, I will just rename that. Refactor and rename, and say, instead of saying main view, just reverse that and say view main, a refactor. Now, as you can see, when I do something like that, all of the views are basically listed alphabetically in my IDE, and basically they show up next to one another. So this is one of the observations, is that related classes should probably be named similarly, and there should be some consistency. Likewise, instead of saying NYR controller, I said controller NYR, anticipating that maybe one day there will be another controller class, and then all of these controller classes will be alphabetically listed next to one another. Okay, just a short observation. Okay, next, let's go to main. The main class, main app, which contains the main method. And ideally, this is what I want. I want to say controller NYR, which is my controller class. I'll just say controller NYR. This is the name of the object, NYR. Equals new controller NYR, and I don't know what the parameters should be right now, but ideally, since at the current stage we only have and only support one single use case, this this would be just approach to say, start the use case and simply execute the controller's class, just constructor, construct the controller, and then have it maybe create windows and other things. That's pretty much it. If I save everything, and if I try running it, right? So if I try running this, then of course it's not going to do much. I mean, it's just going to run and exit right away, because I'm not making any of my windows visible. Right? So let's add this constructor. Obviously, this constructor has work to do in this use case. Remember, controller of who? Controller of the use case. And specifically, right now we're dealing with the controller that controls management of these New Year resolutions, right? So we add the constructor, make it public, of course, right? Public controller. Let's just skip it default for now. And what we need to do is that let's experiment with simply displaying one of the windows, right? We have view main, so let's try displaying view main. We can say view main, right? View main, view main. View main equals new. View main. I'm just guessing this is what it takes to create a window in our case. I don't have any specific parameters, but I can create a window, and then of course I can, if that's the start of the use case, I can just say view main, set set visible. I think there should be set visible right there. Set visible, and to make it visible, you have to say whether it's visible true or visible false. So this is a very simple approach for us to make windows visible. It's just you need to tell it's part of swing, and we just say, hey, view main, we'd like to create you, and then would like to make you visible. So if I run this, the window becomes visible. Obviously, this is just an empty window, doesn't even have a title, and this is the minimal window that NetBeans designer created for me. It just essentially gave it some default dimensions on my screen, which is like a 1/4 of screen roughly, right? Maybe a little less than 1/4, but that's what it did. Okay, so that looks like looks like a window. So now I can close my window and make some adjustments to the window itself. For this, I'll go to View Window, and if I select the window, then I can change its title. I can change its title. Let me see, properties, title right here, right? So I can say NYR. Let me see, maybe I can use a longer version of this, right? So just go and take this New Year's resolutions. That would be my caption, so that I'm consistent with the rest of this homework assignment, something like that. So if I save this update and run it, you'll see that interesting. What's going on here? View main, the title. Save everything. Let's run it again. Okay, so here's the title. So at least I see the title. Now let's just, for the sake of debugging, and you can obviously resize all of these panels and make them the appropriate size. But if I go back to the controller, just for the sake of experimentation, I can make another window. This will be a view history, right? The history of my activity right there, and create new history instance, and say view history, then view history make also visible. Then of course we're gonna jump to the history class and change its title to history, right? Just keep it simple. History. Okay, so we have some history there. Save everything, right? So we've changed, updated the titles, and made our controller create both windows and make them both visible. So let's just run that. So the position of these two windows is up to the system. I'm not specifying what the position is, but notice that both windows are serviced by the same event dispatch thread, but both windows are programmed to exit the application anytime the X button is pressed. So if I press this X button, the application ends, And likewise, if I wanted to close another window, the application, likewise, the application will close right away, right? So here's the history, here's the New Year's resolutions window. Once again, if I close this window, both go away. So if you'd like to change that, maybe in the view history, we can say, well, it's okay to close this window. The application should not exit. Default close operation, we can update that. We can just say hide, right? Just like, okay, just hide yourself. Do nothing would be just totally ignoring the X thing, but hide is perhaps a reasonable choice for view history when the user closes it. So I'm saving this and running it, and so this time I have my history, I have my new user resolutions. If I click X button now, it gets hidden. I have no means to show it again. It's in memory, it's not visible, but I can exit now by clicking the X button, and that exits the application. So perhaps this is a desirable setup to begin with. Yes, question?
Where did you find the, you just hit it there?
Yes, the question is where did I make those updates? 1 second.